Megalith, a deck historically known for its tight resource loop and the ability to ritual summon themselves not with spells, but with their monster effects, have gotten recent support in the new MasterDuel pack that came out with Yummy and the DDD stuff. It has been slightly overlooked due to how meta Yummy is and how interesting DD is. So there's not too many resources for this. Therefore, this deck list can be improved, but this is what I've came up with at baseline, and we're running it with Mitsurugi. Mitsurugi, apart from just being a really strong ritual deck and having one card combos, which this deck doesn't have, aside from it giving it like a wheelchair, it also is very synergistic, as any Mitsurugi ritual monster with an Unforged can get you access to any of the level 4 Megaliths, which is very important, but I'll get into that later. But for now, let's get into the deck list with the hand traps: 2 Max C, Triple Lash, Triple Furos, and that's all. Time to get into the Mitsurugi stuff, as we already probably know all the cards here. Triple Habakiri can both special summon a level 4 Mitsurugi, then tribute it for obviously any of its effects. Then 1 Futsu, 1 Amino, or Amno, I'm not very good with pronunciations. Then obviously triple prayers, 1 ritual, 1 purification, with 1 apiece of both Saji, Kasanji, and Aramasa, and with the 1 serpent, the Night Sword Serpent. I almost said Serpent Spine, like it's Genshin Impact. My brain's rotted. And then the other engine in this deck is obviously the Megaliths with Triple Fool, a busted card that on Ritual Summon can add back any ritual from graveyard to hand, and this card becomes that level. Then add Quick Effect, can Ritual Summon any Megalith from deck by tributing cards on field or hand. That, I don't know if it needs to be the exact level. Oh, it can be exact or higher. Then 1 Ophiel, a non-once per turn search of a monster Megalith, and obviously has the effect to ritual summon a Megalith using its surface material and weather from hand. Double Haggith is the spell trap version of Ophiel. Then we have Fulock, which is a new one, where it can on ritual summon, add a card from graveyard to hand, a Megalith ritual monster from graveyard to hand, and then on a quick effect, can ritual summon a Megalith from graveyard using its service material and whatever. And then we have 1 Bayfor. On special summon, you can just pop cards up to the amount of rituals you have in graveyard. It has to be different names, which also count the Mitsurugi stuff, which is nice. Then Triple Aratron, which is both the ritual spell monster, where it can discard itself in hand to ritual summon. And both, if it is ritual summons, it's targeting protection, which, I mean, you don't normally summon it, but you can. It's not actually bad. And then to finish off with 1 of the new one, Notra Plura, which you can activate in hand, so people can't respond to the activation of your Megalith monsters, but also is just a negate. Quick effect negate, and if it negates and destroys, and then if naked card of the effect is on the field, contribute 1 monster your opponent controls. So that is nice. And to finish it off with the spells, oh, I forgot. Mitsurugi Mirror. I kind of forget I have this in here. I was mostly running it because I was also running triple prep. But I don't think Mirror is just bad. I think Mirror is just a good card to have. But 3 of the new continuous spell, Megalith Anastas. Crazy card for advantage. You discard one, add 2 Megalith monsters, one level 4 or lower, one level 8 or higher, meaning you always have access to Fool, and you always have access to Arachon, which can summon the Fool. And when you ritual summon a monster, once per turn, when you summon a Megalith monster, I guess it isn't even ritual, you can just push or summon it. You can activate its effects, draw 2 and discard 1, or you can tribute one monster your opponent controls. You can activate both effects on the same turn, meaning that you can get a lot of advantage very easily. And then triple Megalith Unformed, you can ritual summon one Megalith monster from your deck by tributing the monsters on hand or field. That's exactly twice the level of a monster you want to tribute, which means obviously any of the 4s can be accessed by tributing any 8, and any Fool can be accessed by tributing any 4, but that is slightly less relevant. Also has a secondary effect where it can modulate the opponent's attack, which like can come up in certain corner situations. Before we get into extra deck, I should mention that you should actually probably run another Megalith Spell Trap to really benefit from the Haggith non-once per turn search. I haven't, but I realized at the end, if I was to play more of this deck, you should totally just add one Emergence, because it is just a really good card and can help bring back stuff like Plura or whatever. Totally should run it. Wish I was. Extra deck, obviously one Feral Imp and one Grow Knight, generic 4s that can search both halves of the deck, and then Exoton Knight, Tornado Dragon, Cold Igniter, which allows you to just ritual summon a monster, which can help in some hands. Then number 90, Photon Lord and Star Slayer, with a Zeus, of course. Then a Link Spider with IP and SP, a Dynamono, which is kind of like an SP, which is really tight. I really like this card. Then another new card that came out in this pack, Urshelon U1000. It can be created with 2 monsters with different type of attributes, which is like in some hands, depending on the Pokemon hand trap, you can just have like a Haggith chilling on field, and obviously a Mitsurugi, which would create this. And you can reveal one ritual monster in your hand, and you can add a different one with a different attribute, which means any Megalith can get into any Mitsurugi, and any Mitsurugi can get into any Megalith, which is really, really cool and neat. And on ritual summon, on your turn or your opponent's, it can target one face-up card in the field your opponent controls and returns to the hand, which does make it an interruption, which is also really sick and actually does get triggered. Pretty helpful because it gets triggered, obviously, on ritual summon, which Megaliths do on your opponent's turn. Great card. Then the really cuttable ones, we have Gorgon of long ass name. Haven't really summoned it. It is something you can go into with IP. You can 100% cut it for something else. It's really not that important. And then Goddess of the Underworld, just because it's how we out any rogue strategy that creates a really annoying monster. Okay, so this first duel is against Draco Tail. A very, very powerful deck in this format. Going second, this hand doesn't have too many interactions, but Ash should be enough. I'm obviously going to try and save it for like a Rahu or a Ketu. Rather a Rahu, because Rahu is crazy advantage. Bimsing Horn does make me think they already have like a Rahu in hand, and summoning out Bestial Magma is really annoying. Something fun this deck can do is, obviously, because Arachon is a quick effect ritual summon, it does mean that I do get to do fun stuff like this, where I can quick effect ritual summon on the opponent's turn. Obviously, tributing the Habakiri means now Habakiri will trigger to obviously search a card, and the Fool will trigger to add back the Habakiri, which I will be doing. Absolutely insane advantage. Adding Mirror, I don't know why I added mirror there. I think I was just slightly confused because I haven't been playing too much. Obviously full quick effect 7 Bayfair from deck, blowing up the back rail and the Magumut. Now at this point I'm confused because they didn't activate Rahu, they could have had a Ketu to activate it, but it must have been a very iffy board they had. I'm assuming there's hand traps like a nib, but this is just a very easy deck to clean up into. Obviously triggered Anastas to search 2 cards, both the Haggith and the Aratron. It probably, well not probably, it was a mistake to search Haggith. Should have just added a Fool instead. Activate the Fool loss, obviously is a hand trap. I'm assuming that they maybe have like a Fine Mina in hand. And that's why they didn't want to commit. But Ash on the Fool loss, meaning that if they do have a Fine Mina, it is absolutely useless now. And obviously I get to now abuse the Mitsurugi being tributed for a tribute summon, Haggith can search a spell, and now I can also search to discard 1 off of the Continuous Trap. But now Haggith does access to Fool. It was like extra steps, and it is kind of irrelevant to be doing all that. I could have just summoned the Fool anyways, but that's not here nor there. Going into the Nortra Plura. A very fun thing about Nortra Pluma is obviously they have a nib here, but that's not relevant. Nortra Pluma is just a negate, and because they have 2 cards, it allows me to always negate the first card, and then the Mitsurugi negate, if it's another hand trap, will be negated anyways, because obviously they can't discard a card for the effect. On the activation of Mirror, they surrender because it's obvious that they're about to be touched, and that is a easy win. Okay, so Duel 2 is against Malice, a deck that never truly dies because of just how good Cyber Slop is. This time we get to go first, and this hand is actually very crazy. A Prayer's giving me whole access to Harbakuri, and obviously Haggith giving me access to the Anastas. Means I can literally access both files from my deck, and it's going to be really nice. Plus the added bonus of tributing Aramara means that I can search any ritual monster, any Harbakuri, not Harbakuri, any Mitsurugi. The Impam on Haggith does really suck, but this is where I believe Usalon 1000 will show its utility. Obviously, you do the common Harbakuri line, but because I was able to search a new ritual monster, it means that I'm able to summon it from hand, tributing Light Swords Serpent, mean I can get the field. They obviously activates Ghost Warner. I do chain to it to make him discard 1, which is a -2 for 1, which I'm completely fine with. I don't need to use it to extend because of all the cards I have on field already. I can just leave on field. I'm completely okay with that. Using both Nice Serpent and Haggith, I can go into IP, but if I had a ritual monster in hand, I could 100% gone into Ursula 1000. But now I obviously have a IP, I have a way to special summon monsters fulfilled to get a bigger IP or a small IP depending what happens, and a Omni. The Omni gets used on the field spell. I could have ashed it. Actually, no, I kind of. Oopsies! I kind of forget how cards work. But, anyways, the negate the special summon back of the negate. So, worried about what the opponent has, I do go directly into a Dynamona to summon out the Mitsurugi. Complete, like, I do shotgun this really early because obviously an Ash could be really helpful, depending on what the final card in hand is. But to really secure the win, I do shotgun everything to bring out this early, so that any card, the last card in hand, is of course going to be negated from its effect, so you can't discard one. A very easy one. This final duel is actually versus a deck I find very interesting. It is a like punk combo deck. I always found these combo decks really fun, just because they mix in a lot of archetypal stuff that just synergistically works, and are all really good. Talking about really good, this hand's crazy. Access to all the fucking Mitsurugi stuff, one card combo, plus access to a lot of Megalith cards means this is gonna be very simple. The benefit of being able to use the cards in your hand means you can summon the 4 of Serpent, Sword Serpent, which means you can either use it for a rank 4 play, or you can just use it as a full tribute for a level 4 Megalith. Which I don't know which one I do here, but I think both are adequate, elegant solutions. Add mirror here, so I can extend further, get more bodies on the field, search for trap. But obviously, Seven Spine also being on the field does also just mean I can make an IP or SP or whatever. Obviously, an status effect happens, so I can search Fool and stuff. Tributing Serpent for Fool. I now get to add back in 8s. I get to draw 2 off of the field spell. This does get impermed. I do chain the negate, so it's like, would you want to discard 2 for negate? Obviously, my answer is yes, because this card's crazy. They discard another imperm, which makes me think this hand has to be insane. Or, if you're discarding imperm, the hand has to be insane, or the hand has to be like really dog shit to where you need every card in hand. But we do get to end on a Omni, plus an SP, plus obviously a quick effect pop. Now Unicorn isn't actually that scary of a card. On Spectral Summon I do get to activate effects to Spectral Summon it back, but a Chain Coolby, in which I can just negate. It doesn't matter. It's not like this monster is a continuous spell, it doesn't need to be on field to resolve its effect. Obviously I summon out Murakumo to nuke the field. Unicorn will die, so they don't get access to the spell. And I'll do just the long chain line of being able to add a card to hand, which obviously I shuffle mirror back, and just summon all my stuff back to the field. Honestly, because the deck is such a toolbox, it really doesn't matter. Because banishing SP also is irrelevant when Dino Mono is also just an SP at the end of the day for this deck. Now I'm able to summon out an Omni Negate and a normal summon card, meaning that they know it is over. So my final thoughts on this deck. Obviously the Mitsurugi stuff is really powerful. It's crazy that it's even legal. The decks, because they're both ritual, and to bring themselves out they obviously have to tribute monsters, means that the Megalith stuff has amazing synergy with Mitsurugi, and Mitsurugi has amazing synergy with, well, any deck ever, because it's just so generic and there's so many options you can go into. It means this is like probably the best way to be playing Megalith, though there is cards of which I haven't tried out, like the level 1 Miracle Raven card, which does seem absolutely crazy. Also, like I said, I should have been playing an Emergence in the deck list. It would add a much more layered end board to where I wouldn't have to like ritual summon out Plura. I can bring it back and it would be a lot more easier on the resources. Plus, I'm not really abusing the non once per turn searches on Haggith to, you know, search it, because you know, if I already have Anastas or I already have Unformed, it's like whatever. Another thing is, I'm not that crazy with the deck just because I haven't played it much, so I'm assuming a lot of lines I did or ways I played is just wrong and not optimal, but still it's really, really fun. The extra deck being really toolboxy because you don't really need to go into it is actually really, really sick. I do really enjoy that aspect. I love when extra decks are toolboxy. Fool is an absolutely busted card. This card is also really busted because, you know, you get to just go +1 on your own turn. But every turn after that, every time you ritual summon, you're going +1, like you're plussing so much. You can drown your opponent in card advantage. But the issue is, because we're running so little hand traps, the card advantage doesn't actually add up too much on the opponent's turn. Obviously, drawing another high level ritual means it'd be easier to get out, like Plura, with obviously Fool and stuff. But because this deck has such a heavy main deck like need for engine, it means the non-engine actually really does suffer because of that, meaning that all these a lot of draws doesn't actually amount to too much. Still though, really, really fun deck. Actually very low requirement as soon as you've already had all the Mitsurugi stuff, seeing as you can get away with running one of this, you probably should play more because it's a really weird card to where you want it in your hand to obviously activate its effect, so it becomes unrespondable. But also, it's like you kind of don't. Because it doesn't actually, apart from making your stuff respondable, it doesn't actually have any useful effects apart from just being tribute fodder. Which I guess still is useful in a ritual deck, but still it's something to think about. Yeah, no, so assuming you already have Mitsurugi stuff, this deck is actually really, really cheap, with only needing 4 UWAs to work, with obviously triple Anastas and one of this. It's great, it's actually really, really fun.